It's 2019, and this is a HIBA, How I Became an Atheist. Or if you want to add that extra A, it's a HIBA. So, however you wish it. This one, I a little bit struggled on the name. I've been thinking about it for a couple of days, and I just settled on basically my old roots, which was Cowardice. I thought it would be a nice title. It suits it, but I didn't want to use it because I know how that strikes people when it comes to religion or anything, honestly. You don't want to be called a coward. But for this, what happened was while I was growing up, I mean, from hearing about what an atheist is and at first I'm like, I don't want to be that. They're evil. They're just doing all this other stuff. And okay, then I get older and I learn, oh, I see. So, because what I grew up in, what I grew up around, what I witnessed, what I saw, what I heard of, I was like, all these people are Christian. And the atheists don't really have a say or a do or a thought, but they're demonized. And I thought, and it got to me, and I was like, I'm an atheist. I don't do any of those bad things, but I keep seeing Christians do it. And all I knew about was Christians, and I knew that Christians didn't like Jehovah's Witness. They didn't like Baptists. They didn't like Buddhists. They didn't like monks. They didn't like atheists. They didn't like whatever. It didn't matter. If it won't Christian, it won't right. It's like, well, they believe in God, but they just got a weird thing about it. They just don't believe it the way we do, so they're going to burn in hell. So, okay. And like I said, my family wasn't fundamentalists, but I questioned things here and there. Now, when it came growing up and being exposed more to the world, you know, in high school and then tech college, the little bit I went there, and then eventually getting online and then exploring online and getting older and all this other stuff. By the time I was about 27, it dawned on me. I really had to think about it. I thought as critical as I could as I listened to Christians, and I mean, they spoke about, you know, stone your kid, beat your kid. They don't listen to you. Meaning, if you give an order, or if you kindly ask a question, what's really an order, and your child doesn't immediately, instantaneously obey it and achieve it, then they're obviously being unruly. And and in the book, it says to stone them, to, you know, and sometimes to whack them and stuff. Now, I can see if your kid proved to be unruly and you go through every step possible and you're like, look, you know, if you do every step possible in and out of reason to not whoop your kid. This is where I'm growing up now, okay? I ain't talking about modern day where it's pretty much, look, make sure your kid do everything they can to be, you know, as unruly as possible. You know, don't discipline them. Just, you know, I mean, you can talk to them, but other than that, you know, physical punishment, it doesn't help, but it doesn't, it doesn't change much. It just might make them fear you. See, that's kind of the thing. When I was growing up, if this is what I observed, the kid don't fear their parents, then they don't listen to their parents. And they don't listen to their parents, they mess up royally. That's what I saw growing up. It didn't matter your race. It didn't matter if you was brought up wealthy or poor. It didn't matter anything in between. If you didn't discipline your kid, I mean, it didn't matter. You could have a harsh tone. The kid get used to it. And so I'm like, you got to stone this kid. Go out and do it. Don't whoop them. Throw them out in the street. Get everybody around and stone them, because when you stone someone to death, as it says in the Bible, that's death. That's death. And then there's also in the Bible where it said to ridicule them publicly, to shame and shun. The square must do this. And I'm like, wow, okay. And then I heard the worst talk. Well, on TV, they say, atheists got to be killed. What? If they don't believe and they're not causing any damage, what is there to kill? But my thought was, you know what, religious people? Do it. Whatever's in your book on how to handle people of any magnitude, of any age, any creed, anything, do it. But they don't. And they won't. And I've waited. They just don't. It's their Lord, his orders, his will, his wish, but they won't do it. So they're disobeying the Lord, right? I mean, they're scared of him, but they don't want to get in trouble by him or tangible people. That's where I stood. That's where I stay. This is the Atheist Dragon for How I Became an Atheist. Thank you for listening.